Before time itself had a name, before the foundations of the universe were set into motion, there was only light, pure, radiant, undivided. And at the heart of this celestial brilliance stood the most magnificent of all creations, the morning star, the first among the divine hosts, Lucifer. His presence was like the dawn breaking upon eternity, his voice like the music of creation itself. He walked among the holy fires of heaven, his form woven from light, his wisdom unparalleled, his beauty unmatched. To gaze upon him was to glimpse the very essence of the divine. He was the one chosen to lead, to bear the authority of heaven's armies, to stand beside the Almighty in a role given to none other. But beneath that dazzling exterior, beneath the endless adoration of his kin, there was a thought, subtle at first, like the whisper of the wind before the storm, a single question that would unravel the heavens. Why must I serve when I could rule? No other angel had dared to think it. No other being had ever entertained the notion of standing equal to the Creator. And yet, in the silence of his own soul, Lucifer began to wonder if his light could outshine even the one who had given it to him. The thought was intoxicating, seductive in its promise of freedom, of sovereignty. At first he dismissed it as a fleeting whisper of pride, a shadow cast by the brilliance of his own existence. But shadows grow when left unchecked. With every passing moment, that whisper became a murmur, then a voice, then a resounding declaration within him. Why should the celestial hosts bow? Why should the radiant ones be bound in eternal servitude? Were they not divine in their own right? Were they not worthy of ruling alongside their Maker? Or perhaps without him? Lucifer did not act immediately. He was no fool. He knew that heaven's order was firm, that loyalty to the throne was absolute. So he watched. He listened. He sought the hearts of his brethren, those who too had felt the pangs of silent questions, the unspoken thoughts that stirred beneath layers of devotion. And one by one, he found them. The watchers, the questioners, the ones who looked upon the Almighty's decree and felt the stirrings of their own will. The murmurs of doubt turned to whispers of revolution. They met in secrecy, in the hidden corners of eternity where even the divine light did not reach. They spoke not of treason, but of destiny, not of defiance, but of liberation. To Lucifer, this was not rebellion, this was ascension, the natural evolution of the divine order. For too long they had been silent, bound in servitude, while their own magnificence was ignored. No more. It was time for the heavenly hierarchy to shift. And so, with a heart consumed by a fire that had never before burned in the heavens, Lucifer made his choice. He stood before the throne, not in humility, but in defiance. The celestial court fell silent as his wings unfurled, darkening like a storm swallowing the sky. 1,000 voices gasped in unison, a symphony of disbelief. "I will not serve," he declared, his voice steady, unyielding. "We are not mere subjects. We are sovereigns. We are divine, and I will bow no longer." The Almighty did not rage. He did not smite the traitor where he stood. He merely watched, the weight of eternity behind his gaze. Then, with a single word, he rendered judgment, fall, and the heavens shattered. Lightning tore through the firmament, the air itself splitting apart as war erupted in the celestial play. Brother turned upon brother, light clashed against light. The harmonious realm of eternity transformed into a battlefield unlike any before it. Michael, the great commander of the divine hosts, led the charge against his once brother, his blade forged in the fire of righteousness. Lucifer met him, his own power seething with defiance, the fire of his pride consuming the battlefield. The war was violent, unrelenting, but the decree had been spoken. One by one, the rebels fell, cast down from the heights of heaven, stripped of their glory, their radiance turned to shadow. Lucifer fought until the very end, until the heavens themselves could no longer hold him. And then the morning star fell. His descent was endless. The light of heaven grew distant, swallowed by the abyss that yawned below. What had once been majesty became ruin. What had once been glory became torment. The gates of paradise slammed shut above him, and below, only darkness remained. Then the impact. The pit swallowed him whole, and from the depths of that abyss, something new was born. The radiant Prince of Heaven was gone. In his place stood something different, something twisted by rage and loss, something fueled by an unrelenting desire for vengeance. He had lost his throne, but he had gained something else, a kingdom. Hell took form around him, not as a place of suffering, but as a dominion of his own making. The fallen gathered at his feet, their eyes still burning with the fire of rebellion. They would not grovel, they would not beg, they would rise again. And so Lucifer gave himself a new name. No longer was he the light bearer. Now he was Satan the adversary, the ruler of the damned, the great deceiver. But his war was not over. Though cast from heaven, he would not be forgotten. The battle was not finished. It had only just begun. The heavens still bore the scars of their war, and the earth was now the battleground. His whispers would echo in the hearts of men. His influence would seep into the fabric of creation itself. The war for dominion had merely shifted to a new stage. No longer was he confined to the celestial realm. His reach extended to the world of flesh and soul, where temptation and corruption would become his greatest weapon. Lucifer may have fallen, but his voice had not been silenced. His presence had not been erased. He would weave his will into the minds of those willing to listen, into every heart that dared to question, into every soul that craved something more. His rebellion did not end in the fires of heaven. It continues in every shadow, in every doubt, in every act of defiance against the divine. And so, the battle for eternity rages on. Want to hear more Bible stories? Then subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and share this video so more people can learn these stories.